Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Islamic Defense Podcast. So, David Wood, the psychopath, has made another video. So, let's check it out.
I said that Muhammad tortured a man for money, and the torture was much worse than a simple beating. Let's read the passage. The context is the Battle of Khaybar. Muslims defeated the Jews and wanted their treasure. A Jewish man named Kanana knew where the treasure was hidden. Ibn Ishaq, page 515. Kanana ibn al-Rabi, who had the custody of the treasure of Banu al-Nadir, was brought to the apostle, who asked him about it. He denied that he knew where it was. A Jew came, Tabari says was brought, to the apostle and said that he had seen Kanana going round a certain ruin every morning early. When the apostle said to Kanana, "Do you know that if we find you have it, I shall kill you?" he said, "Yes." The apostle gave orders that the ruin was to be excavated, and some of the treasure was found. When he asked him about the rest, he refused to produce it. So the apostle gave orders to al-Zubair ibn al-Awam, "Torture him until you extract what he has." So he kindled a fire with flint and steel on his chest until he was nearly dead. Then the apostle delivered him to Mohammad ibn Maslama, and he struck off his head in revenge for his brother Mahmud.
This is a lie. As I said in my previous video, Ibn Ishaq is not reliable. The story he is quoting has no chain of transmission. We have no idea where this story comes from. Not to mention, Ibn Ishaq was known to fabricate stories about the Prophet. For example, Islamic scholar Shibli Nomani wrote in his biography of the Prophet about this report, and he says that this report is completely baseless. He says, and I quote, "In the rest of the report, both Tabari and Ibn Hisham have quoted it from Ibn Ishaq, but Ibn Ishaq does not name any narrator." You can read about this in Allama Shibli Nomani's book, Sirat al-Nabi, volume number 2, page number 173 to 174. Not to mention, both Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam Ahmed considered Ibn Ishaq as completely unreliable in terms of hadith narrations. Some of the scholars even called him a liar. Again, watch my previous video on David Wood's baby proposal for resources. Here, David is committing the hearsay fallacy. He is again making an argument from hearsay based on baseless reports. Now, we know that this report is a lie because the Prophet explicitly condemned torturing people. There is a report which explicitly forbids torture. You can read about this in Sahih Muslim, which says, Hisham ibn Hakim reported he passed by some people in Syria who had been forced to stand in the sun and had oil poured over their heads. Hisham said, "What is this?" It was said that they are being punished for not paying taxes. Hisham said, "I heard the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessing be upon him, say, 'Verily, Allah will torture those who torture people in this world.'" You can read about this in Sahih Muslim 2613. The hadith is graded as Sahih. Now, if you're a Christian, ask yourself this. Does this sound like a man who likes to torture people? I mean, why on earth would companions of the Prophet go around trying to stop people from being tortured if the Prophet himself was known for torturing people? This makes no sense. So let me put this argument in logical form. Premise 1. According to David Wood's theory, Prophet Muhammad liked to torture people. Premise 2. If we find any evidence that contradicts this theory, it would be proven false. Premise 3. We say that in the hadith of Sahih Muslim 2613, the Prophet Muhammad condemned torturing other people, which contradicts David Wood's theory. Conclusion. Therefore, David Wood's theory is proven false. Now let's take a look at Christianity. Surely David's own religion will not promote torturing of other people, right? Wrong. So there's a story, and there are many stories of torture in the Bible, by the way. Again, like I said in my previous video, I could make an entire series out of this, but here's one. And I think this is one of the worst cases of torture. Anyway, so you can read about this in this story in Deuteronomy. It's regarding rebellious children. So you can read about this in Deuteronomy chapter 21, verses 18 to 21. Now, the passage goes something like this. If someone has a stubborn or rebellious son who does not obey his father and mother and will not listen to them when they discipline him, his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him to the elders of the gate of his town. They shall say to the elders, "This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He is a glutton and a drunkard." Then all the men of his town are to stone him to death. I'm going to read that again. Then all the men of his town are to stone him to death. You must purge the evil from among you. All Israel will hear of it and be afraid. You can read about this in Deuteronomy 21, chapter 21, verse 18 to 21. So, wait, I'm kind of confused. Is the Bible saying that if a child is a glutton, he should be stoned to death? Wait, what? How? Wait, is the Bible seriously saying that if your kid eats too much, you should be stoning him to death? What? Why? This makes no sense. I mean, that's like half of America. I'm joking, guys. Calm down. This is a joke. But seriously, I mean, what? If this is true, then you have to kill over 13.7 million children in America, because according to the CDC, almost 13.7 million American children suffer from obesity. And the thing is that being obese, there's nothing wrong with being obese. Sometimes people just have diseases, and oftentimes people just get fat even when they work out a lot. I mean, I think Joe Rogan once made a video about it, how people can sometimes get fat even though they're not eating too much. So it's not just that people get fat just from eating, So, I mean, this actually baffles my mind. So tell me, are all of you good Christian moms ready to do the Lord's work according to your belief? I mean, are you ready to shave off some of those fat from your kids by stoning them to death? By stoning them to death? I'm sorry, my English is dying. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, seriously, if you apply the biblical laws in America right now, then you have to kill over 13.7 million children in America because they are suffering from obesity. And the argument will go that, and some of them are eating too much. Now, the thing is that how come David the Psychopath doesn't have a problem with this? No, actually, you know what? This makes perfect sense. This is exactly the kind of religion that would attract a psychopath. So my bad, David, you know what? This religion is perfect for you. Now, to be fair, I have to be fair and say that most Christians follow the New Testament. However, that doesn't matter because these books are still canon. Your kids are learning about these stories from these books. How does it not bother you? I mean, I understand David's position. He's a psychopath. But what's your excuse? You know what? I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sure most American Christians are good people. However, it's really frustrating when you guys follow someone like David Wood, when all he does is mock Islam, yet ignores passages like this from the Bible. Now, you know what? It's fine if the Bible said that all criminals or rapists should be stoned to death. I can get behind that. And I can even deal with that, with the fact that this was, this was ancient history. Like this, we were talking about ancient periods. And sometimes in those time periods, criminals needed to be punished like that because otherwise you would have chaos. And it's not like they had human rights back then anyway. However, killing your own children just because they're not listening to you is not okay, not even in ancient periods. So again, I ask the same question as I did before. Which do you think has the better teaching? Islam, which teaches you that no one should be tortured unnecessarily? Or Christianity, which is teaching you that you can torture your own kids to death if they don't listen to you? Again, you decide. With that, I'm done with this video. Inshallah, I'll see you guys in the next time. In the next video, Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.